invite you to join us in singing the prelude, number 1069, Ancient Mother.
Every night and every morn. Number 124.
Thank smiled at me and called me crazy. But I was not upset by knowing I did not conform. I always thought their seeing must be hazy. The unicorn and I would while away the hours, playing, dancing, and romancing in the wildflowers. And we'd sing, seeing is believing in the things you see. Loving is believing in the ones you love. Seeing is believing in the things you see. Loving is believing in the ones you love. When I was 17, my best friend was the Northern Star. The others asked why I was always dreaming. But I did not reply. I found my thoughts were very far away from daily hurts and fears and scheming. The Northern Star and I would share our dreams together, laughing, sighing, sometimes crying, through all kinds of weather. And we'd sing, seeing is believing in the things you see. Loving is believing in the ones you love. Seeing is believing in the things you see. Loving is believing in the ones you love. And now that I am grown, my best friend lives inside of me. The others smile at me and call me crazy. But I am not upset, for long ago I found the key. I've always known their seeing must be hazy. My friend inside and I will while away the hours, playing, dancing, and romancing in the wildflowers. And we sing, seeing is believing in the things you see. Loving is believing in the ones you love. Seeing is believing in the things you see. Loving is believing in the ones you love.
Welcome to Holston Valley Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm the Reverend Tiffany Sapp, the minister of this church, and I'm so glad that you could be here with us today. Please be aware that this service is being live streamed and recorded, and that you can find subtitles in one of your menu options at the bottom of the screen. Services are also being posted to YouTube, and you're welcome to join that way, but you will miss being able to participate in our interactive joys and concerns. It is good to be with you today. Even when I'm not literally in the same room with you, my heart knows that we're together. I can see your faces. I know that we're a community. And even if you watch this recorded at a later time, I know that we're connected by something bigger than time and space. We're connected by our intention to build community together and to see ourselves and the world transformed. Today, one of my favorite hymns is the launching point of our message, Spirit of Life, which we'll hear as our musical offering today says, "Roots hold me close, wings set me free." And it makes me wonder, what are the roots that hold us close when chaos and change and fear threaten to overwhelm us? And where do we find the wings to fly with hope and joy when the storm has settled enough to make flight possible? I hope that we can imagine together the ways that we find our roots and the ways that we find our wings, and gather our resources to understand how we navigate those things that are challenging about life.
Hello, I'm Spencer Conco, and I'm happy to be with you today as your service leader. I welcome you to this present moment, a rooted space where for just this hour, we can let go of all the things that we think we know, the history, baggage, and trauma of the past. A wing space where for just this hour, the future isn't a place of fear, but of possibility. A sacred space where all that matters is that we're here with each other. And so let's begin by lighting our chalice with some words from Emily Dickinson that will give us wings. So if you have a chalice or candle at home that you'd like to light with me, please join me now. Again, these are the words of Emily Dickinson. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. Hope comes to us in a lot of ways and in a lot of forms. Today, instead of a story, Reverend Tiffany has a special announcement that might bring some of us hope.
This Wednesday, our Board of Trustees voted to approve a new COVID response plan that has opened us up to the possibility of opening our church to in-person services by mid-March. We will continue to have an online option for the foreseeable future, since I know many of you will not be able to join us in person. But we do feel like it's time to give each of you the chance to choose whether to gather in person or stay online, and the freedom to even make a different choice every week if that's what you need. The reasons we're making this change now are varied. The Unitarian Universalist Association released new recommendations on January 21st that reflect that this pandemic is not the same now as it was 2 years ago when it began, or even 6 months ago when our first plan was approved. And we've heard many of you say that you're ready to return to in-person gatherings. You've had your vaccinations and your boosters, and you're ready to follow our masking and distancing guidelines if it means a chance to see your friends in person on Sunday morning. We are proud of the high vaccination rate in our congregation, and we will continue to encourage everyone who is eligible to get vaccinated and boosted. And we will also continue to provide online ways to connect for people who find themselves at higher risk, for people who just aren't ready to come back in person, and for people who have discovered us online but don't actually live in the area. The full COVID response plan is now on our website, and I invite you to go check it out. You can find it by clicking on the Reopening tab at the top menu of our main page, but I'm going to summarize the main recommendations for you right now. The board has appointed a risk assessment team, which consists of 3 members of the Reopening Task Force plus myself. We will meet weekly to use a wide variety of metrics and reflective questions to determine which risk level we are currently at. The risk level will be published on our website and announced weekly. All but the most severe risk level contain provisions for being open for religious services on Sunday morning in person. This team will have our first meeting later today and will determine which risk level we are at now. And a separate announcement will go out about that soon, along with educational materials outlined in the plan about what this level will mean for us regarding precautions in meetings. You can actually already find details about the different risk levels on that reopening tab on the website. We are aiming for offering our first in-person service on Sunday, March 13th, about a month from now. But this will hinge on getting the volunteer support we need and a few new pieces of technology in place, and barring any sort of new extreme variant arising. So this is the goal that we are aiming for, recognizing that if we don't quite make it to March 13th, we are at least headed in the right direction. But I'm feeling hopeful about mid-March. I think we're going to pull it off. And to that end, we are beginning the effort of recruiting and training greeters, ushers, and a few key tech positions. We are also going to begin to educate you all about expectations and procedures. A lot of it's stuff you've heard before. Wearing masks, staying home if you're sick, don't go hugging people, washing your hands. And some of it might be newer, like getting adjusted to the distance-oriented seating setup that we're going to have in the sanctuary. These are all designed to reduce risk and to allow as many people as possible to return safely. You all have become very adaptable in the last 2 years. This is just another adaptation to learn, and hopefully you will find that it's worth it. If you're not going to be coming to in-person services, if you're going to be staying online and maybe for the foreseeable future, I want to reiterate my commitment to staying connected to you and providing a meaningful religious services experience for you as well. To that end, we are putting out a staying online survey to hear from folks like you. In the next day or two, you will find it in the news section of our website or in your email. If you're going to keep doing online church, please respond to this 2-question survey as soon as you can so that we know the best way to stay connected. So, I've done my best to anticipate and answer questions you may have right now, but a much more thorough job has been done by our reopening task force, so I would really encourage you to check out that plan online. In the next few weeks, keep your eyes out for follow-up announcements with information on online services, our new risk level determination, and what precautions we will be asking you to take. I'm really excited about this, and I hope you are too. The words of the hymn Spirit of Life is our text for this service. So I want to invite you to really be present with our musical offering today. Maybe you want to sing along with the choir. You're muted, so sing out loud. Confuse your pets, alarm your children, just get into it. Or if you're more the listening type, just sit back and let the music into your heart. Our music team wants to dedicate this hymn to a very special member of our congregation who has been essential in helping Karis identify which of our hymns are congregational favorites for the sake of developing our music programming and our recordings. Beth Calvert, this hymn is for you and for all the voices of our congregation that have been guiding us. This is another gift from our virtual choir, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
One of the ways that our community supports each other is in the sharing of our joys and concerns. If you're with us in Zoom, I welcome you to share your joys and concerns in the chat box. I might end up reading some of what you write out loud, so please only share what you're comfortable with everyone knowing. If you're on YouTube, I'm not going to be able to see what you type in the YouTube chat. While you share your joys and concerns and moments of awe in the chat, I'm going to light a candle for all of those affected by this COVID-19 pandemic, which is all of us, and some of us more than others. If you'd like, I want to invite you to come into a time of meditation with me. You can close your eyes if you want. You can get in a relaxed position in your chair if you want. And breathe slowly and deeply and just be in this present moment with us. Breathe and feel the spirit of life within you. It is you, and it's always within you. The spirit of life is also with all the friends, members, and acquaintances of our congregation who are with us today, breathing with us, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in compassion, breathing out compassion, and knowing that we are connected. In compassion, we are connected to each other. In compassion, we are connected to the wider world around us. And that compassion calls us to act justly. Feel it, the calling of compassion and justice. Breathing in justice. Breathing out justice. Breathing in and breathing out. Feel the way that your feet touch the ground, and imagine that your feet are roots. Roots that grow deeper into the ground every time you breathe. Breathing in, breathing out. These roots hold your concerns and the concerns of your community In this quiet and grounded place, think about your concerns. Honor them, name them, and release them to the caring community of the earth and your community. Breathing in and breathing out. Our concerns are many and unique to each of us. I'm concerned about legislative attempts in East Tennessee to oppress LGBTQ people. I'm concerned about adoption agencies denying the ability to adopt to people because they are of a different religion. We have a concern for Bob Whittemore, who passed away from Parkinson's last Sunday. Concerns over war, hopes for peace. So many concerns that we give to the earth, that we give to our community through our roots. Know that your concerns and the concerns of your community are held in these roots, held close, and that we can let them go. Breathing in and breathing out. We share joys as well, joys that have a lightness to them, joys that allow us to rise together as a community of joy. If the roots hold us close, then our joys are like birds perched on our shoulders that fly free and joyful and wild. Take a moment to imagine these joyful singing birds perched on your shoulders. Name them, celebrate them, note each of your joys, and imagine your community's joys. Joy for the thought of in-person services, joy for seeing familiar friends at a service auction dinner and meeting new ones, joy for a board of trustees making hard, well-considered decisions, joy for a hope of peace on earth. So much to be joyful for, all the little things. In recognizing these joys, they take flight, and your heart feels lighter for the naming them. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathe in the spirit of life. Breathe out the spirit of life. One or two more concerns that came in. A brother-in-law, Russ, on a health journey. Concerns about religious leaders in Middle Tennessee attacking witches and those who don't fit their religious mold. All the things that we hold, whether spoken or unspoken, in our hearts, we center our practice in loving kindness.
Our reading today comes from a Facebook post by teacher and author John Perricone, who wrote the book Zen and the Art of Public School Teaching. Several years ago, I invited a Buddhist monk to speak to my senior elective class, and quite interestingly, as he entered the room, he didn't say a word. That caught everyone's attention. He just walked up to the board and wrote this: "Everyone wants to save the world, but no one wants to help mom do the dishes." We all laughed, but then he went on to say this to my students: "Statistically, it's highly unlikely that any of you will ever have the opportunity to run into a burning orphanage and rescue an infant. But in the smallest gestures of kindness, a warm smile, holding the door for the person behind you, shoveling the driveway of the elderly person next door, you have committed an act of immeasurable profundity, because to each of us, our life is our universe." This is my hope for you for the new year, that by your smallest acts of kindness, you will save another's world.
Alain de Botton, in his TED Talk, Atheism 2.0, suggests a new way of being an atheist. He suggests that you can reject religious doctrine and still pick out the things about religion that absolutely work for human beings. He says that one of the things that works, that we need as human beings, are sources of guidance, consolation, and ethics. He wonders what it would be like to use Shakespeare, Plato, and Jane Austen in ways that we would have previously used scripture. He wonders what it would be like to move away from doing information-based lecturing to returning to more church-like methods of circling around to bigger truths and the big questions of life, coming back to them again and again as we do our best to navigate a challenging life. Well, it might look like a Unitarian Universalist church. Not all of us, or even half of us, are hardline atheists here. We've got a strong spiritual diversity game with agnostics, mystics, Christians, pagans, Buddhists, Jews, atheists, all of the above, none of the above, and more. We are a community that is engaging in a lot of different sources and practices, striving to answer the big questions together. And here are the big questions that I have kept on circling around thanks to the challenges of the last 2 years. What do we do when life is hard? And how do we navigate our fear when our fight or flight response is triggered? And there are a lot of ways to answer this question. One of my favorite approaches to this question, because of its simplicity and earthiness, is how my in-laws in the Alabama-Florida farmlands respond to hardship. They say, sometimes you just gotta hunker down and take it like a jackass in a hailstorm. And there's some truth to that. What I love about this approach is its authenticity. There's no denial or bargaining here, just an acceptance that some things have to be endured. Sometimes it's good to get real about our situation. I've found that an approach grounded in the reality of the present moment is an important place to start with this big question. Most of the time, the present moment, this point in time and space right here, right now, is a good place to be. It is often the regrets of the past or the fears of the future that make living unpleasant. Usually, the simple present is good, with just a few exceptions, like pain or conflict, or when something triggers a fight or flight response, which is an instinctual biochemical reaction that says it's time to struggle for survival. So yeah, sometimes the present moment really can be awful. But usually when it is, it passes more quickly than we realize. I know I've told you this before, but it bears repeating what brain scientist Jill Bolt Taylor said about the flood of emotions and reactions that hit us when our fight or flight response is triggered. She says that those fight or flight chemicals flush through our body in about 90 seconds. And that this means that for 90 seconds, you can watch the process happening, feel it happening, and then you watch it go away. It's unpleasant, but it's brief. One of the burdens of the pandemic is that it's been a period of longer term activation of our fear responses. A sense of heightened risk and heightened vigilance is something that we've lived with for so long that it has the potential to make everything feel stressful and everything feel like a monumental fight, whether it really is or not. After living in this state for a while, it can be difficult to discern what is a valid fear and what is a trauma reaction. I wrestle with this personally a lot. Sometimes I really wish there was a neon sign in the sky that says, you need to worry about this, or you don't need to worry about that. But let's be honest, if there was a neon sign, what are the chances that I would actually believe what it had to say? So I know what the challenges are, and I know what I want. I want the grace to lay down all my worries and just rest. Apparently I really need that because it made me lose my place. I need the grace to lay down all my worries and just rest. Are you feeling that too? I certainly am. I need to connect with others and my own self. I need to let go and have some moments of peace, quiet, stillness, free of judgment, and free of that hyper-vigilant state. For me, when I hear Spirit of Life and the plea, roots hold me close, wings set me free, what I hear is a longing for peace and joy. The imagery of roots hold me close, point to that. Deep in the soil, connected, dark and peaceful. What practices can get us there? One of my practices is exactly what I led you in during Joys and Concerns. I imagine my roots growing out of my feet, and I imagine myself connected to the earth and unseen sources of support. And when I do that, my personal issues seem to shrink. This sort of visualization, whether it's me playing pretend or not, is engaging enough that it invites me to forget about everything else and just focus on that visualization and being intentional about surrendering my fears, even for just a few minutes. Others may engage in breathing meditations to calm their nervous systems, counting their breaths and letting go of the outside world. Others need something more active, like singing, playing music, yoga, walking, cooking, making art, all activities that are located in our bodies, bringing us back to our physical experiences. These embodied practices can bring so much pleasure and peace when we let everything else go and just focus on what we're doing in the moment. Listening to music, sitting outside and listening to the sounds of birds and the wind, these are practices that invite us to stillness. Some of the best practices are ones done with others. Talking your worries over with a non-judgmental, calm friend, laughing or crying over a good movie, playing games, sharing wonder. All of these practices can help us regain a calm and grounded perspective, which often then leaves room for finding a better approach for whatever is worrying us. Once I've let go, once I've really done the roots thing and gotten calm, a lot more seems possible. And for me, that's when the wings part comes in. Wings set me free. What a good feeling it is to fly, full of hope. And I think if I think about roots as grounding practices, then I think about wings as dreaming practices. Worry is using our imaginations poorly. Dreaming is turning our imagination to the future in more hopeful ways. There's a sense of lightness, of optimism that gives us the energy we need to create a better future. And just like letting go of worry can work better with the help of others, the freedom and excitement of hope and joy often works the same way. Daydreaming with your friends, journaling about your hopes, planning something fun for the future, making a vision board, setting an intention, planting a garden, teaching a child, naming what we're grateful for, all can be the wings that we need to be set free and to enjoy life. What practices do you engage in that make you feel good? Do these things. I know that's like a ridiculously simple message, but it's one that we need to keep on remembering. You don't need to earn the permission to go do things you enjoy that make you feel free. This is the stuff that we're working for. Go find enjoyment in life wherever you can. For almost 2 years into this pandemic, some of us are starting to feel our wings and do a little more, and it feels good. And not all of us can. I know we're not all in the same place about this, and for good reason. I'm in my 40s, have 0 pre-existing conditions, have great health insurance, and no medically vulnerable or unvaccinated people in my household. I am the poster child for freedom and privilege during this stage of the pandemic, and I will acknowledge that that very much affects my perspective. To go back to our countrified metaphor, if the pandemic is the hailstorm, then I am the strong and stubborn beast of burden that can just stand there and take it. And not all of us are. A hailstorm is different for a butterfly. And some of you all are butterflies, which is why I won't say that this is over and that it's not a big deal. It's not over, and it is a big deal for the butterflies, which is why we are committed to continuing to have the best online options we can, which is why I will mask up and sit outside 6 feet away from you on your front porch to talk to you, or get on Zoom with you, or work with your identified needs if you tell me what they are. It seems clear to me that whether you're a butterfly or a mule or somewhere in between, we are going to keep needing grace. We are going to need to keep listening to each other, and we are going to need to just keep on loving each other to keep on making it through this. And that supportive, positive, energizing attitude can come from the most unpredictable sources and in the most delightful ways. A mom who identifies herself on Twitter as Stressy Bessie shares about how her 5-year-old coached her on her roots and wings. She says, when talking about our agenda for the day, I told my 5-year-old that I was a little nervous about a meeting I had today. And he said, Mama, I get nervous all the time. I know what to do. So friends, here is all the advice he could fit into the drive to school. First, you got to say your affirmations in your mouth and your heart. You say, I am brave of this meeting. I am loved. I smell good. And you say it 5 or 3 or 10 times until you know it. Second, he says, you got to walk big. You got to mean it, like Dolly on a dinosaur, because you got it. Third, never put a skunk on a bus. It's good advice. Fourth, think about the donuts of your day. Even if you cry a little, you can think about potato chips. Fifth, you got to take a deep breath and you got to do it again. And finally, even if it's a yucky day, you can get a hug. I think this kid's got it figured out. He's rooted enough to not put a skunk on a bus and to get a hug when he needs it. And he's found wings and potato chips and whatever Dolly on a dinosaur means. And he knows that sometimes we just got to take a deep breath and try again. May we all have the open hearts to embrace the sources of simple wisdom and all of these practices that can bring us peace and hope as we navigate the big questions of life together.
Thank you, Reverend Tiffany, and thank all of you for being with us today. As we extinguish our chalice, take these questions with you. In the end, these things matter most. How well did you love? How fully did you live? How deeply did you let go? There are many ways that you can be involved and be connected with our church. To start, visit our website, hbuuc.org, and check out the news and events section to see what's going on. One thing, Religious Education is offering a community mural pop-up on March the 12th. And March, of course, will be 2 years since we first suspended in-person services. So this will be an all ages opportunity that will allow participants to examine individual and community COVID feelings and a way to create art in response to it. So again, you can find more information on the website under events at hvuuc.org.
And I'd like to invite you, if you've been enjoying our services, curious about our community, and want to know more about who we are at Holston Valley Unitarian Universalist Church, to sign up for our Path to Membership class. This Zoom class will be on March 6th at 2 p.m. Visit events on our website or email membership@hvuuc for more information. So my friends, here is a benediction from Reverend Dr. Rebecca Parker. There is a love. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in that love. Go in peace, go in joy until we meet again.